Hi, I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and today with my friends from allfreeknitting.com, I'm going to show you how to hand felt this knit ball. Now this ball has been lightly stuffed. You can see that it's fairly squishy still because I didn't want to overstuff it because it will shrink some when we felt it. And in comparison, where you can see the definition of the stitches in this ball, I have here a felted oven mitt. And when we're done with the felting, you won't really be able to see any stitch definition at all. You'll get a, well, felt-like material. And I just want to add that if you are felting to make an oven mitt, you really want to make sure that you don't see any visible gaps through the fabric in your final product, because you don't want your skin to come into contact with the hot kitchen apparatuses that you're removing. So to begin felting, I am filling the sink with hot water. The components that you need to felt a knit object, such as this ball, are heat and then agitation. Because as it's warm, the fibers in the yarn will loosen and then start to mix together. So then you can get the ball wet, and you want the water warm enough that you can have your hand in it. It's just barely not comfortable anymore. And then as you can see, I'm rolling the ball in my hands. I'm rolling it and agitating the fibers with my hands. So because you can have a ball in hot water or a wool garment in hot water and it won't felt at all. But it's only through the agitation, which I'll slow down. I'm rolling my hands together and sometimes squeezing, and you can already see kind of that the ball is becoming, you can see better behind my hand, the fibers are becoming really fuzzy. And so that is the first step of felting. And so you can also felt by using your washing machine with having on the hottest setting. But when you're dealing with a small project like this, I find it easier to do it by hand. And then also, you want to have a top-loading washing machine. But I find that you can actually felt something much quicker doing it by hand. And so you can see that it's all fuzzy. And another thing that might help sometimes is just some simple kitchen soap. That'll help with the agitation. And you can take breaks in the felting. If your water cools off, just add more hot water again and you'll be ready to go. And so you may notice that I'm spending a lot of time agitating the fabric, see, outside of the water, and that's because it's pretty warm, so it can be really hard on the hands. So I was asked on a different felting tutorial that I've done how you can felt something that's not out of 100% wool. And the answer to that is that some objects you might be able to felt, but you want to test the yarn before you try felting it, because a lot of acrylic blends might not felt at all. And also, if you're dealing with superwash wool yarn, by definition, they've treated the yarn so it will not felt when you wash it. So if it's machine washable, then likely you will be unable to felt it. So it's best to always start with a swatch to test if you can felt the yarn before you spend the time making the project. And then the extent to which you felt your project is entirely up to you. You can see here that I'm really starting with these eyes right here. The stitches are really starting to come together and I'm starting to lose some definition. But since this is a puppy toy, I want to felt it as much as I can. And in the time, all this is, I've been filming the entire time that we've been doing this, so it really doesn't take too long. And I guess since I said it's a puppy toy, you really want to when you're giving an animal a knit toy, you want to supervise them with it. So this is a ball, so the agitation that I'm doing, just rubbing my hands around it, isn't going to necessarily deform, because, well, you see, like, okay, right now it's not in a ball shape, but I can very easily manipulate it back into the correct shape. But you want to be careful when you're dealing with a hat or slippers or something, that you can still pull and kind of get the object to go back into the shape that you want it to have, because you can deform things a bit. So you may need to pay special attention to edges. And then places where you've woven in loose ends, or if you've done color work, those may also felt differently. So you can see my ball is, well, still super fuzzy, but it's again getting smaller and the fabric is getting thicker. And my hands aren't super pruny yet. And sometimes you will get some pills, but you can just trim any pills and hairs that you don't like off at the end. If your hands get tired, making this kind of motion, or if the object you're trying to felt isn't round, then you can actually just rub the surface with your hands. But as you can see, the ball is much smaller than when I started, and the definition of the knit stitches is really starting to go. You can still see some of the stitches on the side because of the color work pattern, but so that's why you still kind of see the shape, but overall we have a nice, great little felted ball here. So thank you for watching this tutorial on hand felting. I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and this video was brought to you by allfreeknitting.com.